Welcome to the Midnight Files channel. In 1885, a curious pamphlet appeared in Lynchburg, Virginia, telling an extraordinary story. A mysterious man named Thomas J. Beale had allegedly left behind 3 encrypted documents describing the location of buried treasure worth millions. One of these ciphers was successfully decoded, revealing tantalizing details about gold, silver, and jewels hidden somewhere in Bedford County, Virginia. Yet despite nearly 140 years of intense searching by countless treasure hunters, cryptographers, and amateur sleuths, the treasure has never been found. The Beale Ciphers remain one of America's most enduring mysteries, though many experts now believe the entire story may be an elaborate 19th century hoax. The tale begins, according to the 1885 pamphlet, in January 1820, when a man named Thomas Beale arrived at the Washington Hotel in Lynchburg, Virginia. The hotel was operated by Robert Morris, and Beale stayed there for the winter season. Before departing in the spring, he returned in January 1822 for another extended stay, and before leaving this time, Beale entrusted Morris with a locked iron box. Beale told Morris that the box contained important papers, and that if Beale didn't return within 10 years, Morris should open it. According to the story, Beale never returned. Morris waited not just 10 years, but 23 years before finally opening the box in 1845. Inside, he found 3 sheets of paper, covered with numbers, along with a letter from Beale dated May 9, 1822. The letter explained that Beale and a group of 30 companions had discovered gold and silver while hunting buffalo in the western territories near Santa Fe. Over the course of 18 months, they had mined a substantial quantity of precious metals and jewels. Beale's letter stated that the group had transported this treasure back to Virginia and buried it in Bedford County in 1819 and 1821. The 3 cipher documents described the treasure's location, its contents, and the names of the treasure party members along with their relatives who should receive shares if the original members couldn't be found. Beale wrote that a friend in St. Louis held the key to decoding the ciphers and would mail it to Morris in June 1832. Of course, this key never arrived. Morris apparently spent years trying to decode the ciphers without success. Eventually, he shared the story and the ciphers with an unnamed friend who continued the work after Morris died. This anonymous friend claimed to have successfully decoded the second cipher in the 1860s by using the Declaration of Independence as the key. The cipher worked through a numerical substitution system. Each number corresponded to a specific word in the Declaration of Independence, and the first letter of that word spelled out the message. The decoded second cipher revealed impressive details. It described the treasure as consisting of approximately 2,921 pounds of gold, 5,100 pounds of silver, and jewels worth about $13,000 that had been obtained in St. Louis in exchange for silver. The cipher specified that the treasure was buried in iron pots with iron covers placed in a stone-lined vault 6 feet below ground level. The location was described as being in Bedford County, about 4 miles from a tavern then known as Buford's, in an excavation or vault. The decoded message also mentioned that Beale's party had increased in size from the original 30 members to about 40 by 1821, and that the treasure was divided proportionally among them, with the largest share going to those who had been present from the beginning. This level of detail made the story seem authentic and specific enough to be credible. However, the first cipher, which supposedly describes the exact location of the treasure, has never been decoded. Neither has the third cipher, which allegedly lists the names of the treasure party members and their heirs. Without the first cipher decoded, the treasure's location remains unknown despite the tantalizing details provided in cipher number 2. The anonymous decipherer eventually decided to publish the story and the ciphers in hopes that someone else might crack the remaining codes. In 1885, James B. Ward, a Lynchburg resident, copyrighted and published a pamphlet titled The Beale. Ward claimed to be acting as agent for the anonymous author, though many historians believe Ward himself was likely the author. The pamphlet sold for 50 cents and contained the complete story along with all 3 ciphers. Publication of the pamphlet sparked intense interest that continues to this day. Countless individuals have attempted to decode ciphers 1 and 3, trying various historical documents as potential keys. The logic was simple. If the Declaration of Independence worked for cipher 2, perhaps other founding documents, like the Constitution, the Articles of Confederation, or the Virginia Bill of Rights, might work. For the others, despite thousands of attempts using numerous texts and even computer analysis in modern times, no one has successfully decoded the remaining ciphers in a way that has been verified or that has led to the discovery of any treasure. The lack of progress has led many researchers to question whether the Beale ciphers are genuine. Several factors raise red flags. First, no historical evidence has been found to confirm the existence of Thomas J. Beale. No records from the Washington Hotel, no documents from Bedford County, and no newspaper accounts from the period mentioned. Anyone matching Beale's description or his alleged treasure expedition, given that such an extraordinary venture would likely have generated some contemporary documentation, this absence is suspicious. Second, linguistic analysis of the writing style in the Beale pamphlet and in the decoded second cipher suggests they were written by the same person, likely the pamphlet's author. This contradicts the claim that Beale wrote the original documents decades earlier. The vocabulary, sentence structure, and phrasing patterns are remarkably consistent, which would be unlikely if the texts had different authors from different time periods. Third, the cipher techniques used in the Beale ciphers were not particularly sophisticated for the 1820s. Book ciphers, where numbers refer to words in a specific text, were well known cryptographic methods by that time. If Beale truly wanted to secure his treasure information, he might have been expected to use more complex encryption methods available in that era. Fourth, some researchers have noted what appear to be deliberate errors or anomalies in the ciphers that suggest they might not be genuine encrypted messages at all, but rather random or semi-random numbers arranged to appear like coded text. Statistical analysis has revealed patterns that some experts argue are inconsistent with legitimate encrypted messages. The question of motive also arises. If the ciphers are a hoax, why would someone create such an elaborate deception? One possibility is financial gain. The pamphlet itself was sold for profit, and the mysterious, unsolved nature of the puzzle likely boosted sales. Another possibility is that it was intended as a literary amusement or intellectual challenge, perhaps not meant to be taken as literally as subsequent treasure hunters have taken it. The 19th century saw considerable public interest in cryptography and treasure stories, making it a plausible subject for a commercial venture or an entertaining hoax. Nevertheless, belief in the treasure's existence has persisted. Bedford County has seen generations of treasure hunters digging holes using metal detectors and employing increasingly sophisticated technology in attempts to locate the vault. Property owners in the area have dealt with countless requests for permission to search their land. Some searchers have devoted decades of their lives to the mystery, convinced that they are close to cracking the code or finding the location. The enduring appeal of the Beale ciphers lies partly in the decoded second cipher. Unlike purely mythical treasures, this cipher provides specific, verifiable details that can be checked and analyzed. The precise quantities of gold and silver, the description of the burial method, the mention of specific years and locations, all of these details give the story a sense of authenticity that pure legend lacks. This partial decoding tantalizes people with the possibility that they might be the one to solve the remaining ciphers and claim the treasure. Modern cryptographers who have examined the Beale ciphers tend to be skeptical. They note that if the remaining ciphers used the same method as cipher 2 referencing words in a specific document, then the massive amount of computing power now available should have been able to test millions of potential key texts. The fact that no solution has emerged, despite such extensive testing, suggests that either the ciphers use a fundamentally different encryption method that hasn't been identified, or they are not legitimate encrypted messages at all. Some researchers have proposed that the entire Beale story might be based on a smaller kernel of truth that was embellished or transformed into the tale we know today. Perhaps someone did bury something in Bedford County, and this genuine event became the foundation for an elaborate, fictional elaboration. However, without any historical documentation to support even this modest version of events, such theories remain purely speculative. The Beale Ciphers have inspired books, articles, documentaries, and even a few Hollywood treatments. They represent a perfect mystery, specific enough to seem plausible, tantalizing enough to motivate continued searching, yet resistant enough to solution that the mystery can perpetuate indefinitely. Whether the treasure exists or not, the ciphers themselves have become a cultural artifact representing America's fascination with hidden wealth, cryptographic puzzles, and the idea that extraordinary fortune might be just waiting to be discovered. Today, most serious historians and cryptographers believe the Beale Ciphers are an elaborate hoax created in the 1880s, possibly by James B. Ward himself or by someone working with him. The absence of historical documentation, the linguistic consistency suggesting a single author, and the failure to decode the remaining ciphers despite extensive effort, all point toward fabrication. Yet the mystery continues to attract attention, and Bedford County still occasionally sees treasure hunters hoping to prove the skeptics wrong. Whether real or fictional, the Beale Ciphers remind us of the enduring human attraction to mystery and treasure. They demonstrate how a well-crafted puzzle can captivate imaginations across generations, inspiring countless hours of effort and speculation. In a way, the ciphers have become treasure, in themselves not of gold and silver, but of cultural intrigue and intellectual challenge. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.